Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and today we're going to be going into Alamofire. We're going to be going over how to present server data. Now, this wasn't one that I was actually planning on doing. I was planning on giving you guys a tutorial that somebody had suggested on how to scrape web data, but been having a problem with that, trying to figure it out, so I decided to give you requested. Some of you have been having trouble how to get understanding how to get your JSON or any type of data, however you got it from your local file or whether it was from a server, into maybe a table view, and I haven't gone over something like that, so I decided to use Alamofire. Haven't gone through this yet. It's going to be on the fly. You're going to be learning with me. If I run into anything, then you'll see me run into something. But yeah, super long tutorial just to go over how to present data from a server into a table view, and yeah. All right, so the tools we're going to be using: Xcode 8.2.1, Swift 3, Cocoa Pods in order to get Alamofire into our project. We're going to be using Alamofire, which is a networking library, and then we're going to be using SWAPI, which is the Star Wars API. So it's going to be kind of a interesting thing to play with. I set the skill level to beginner because I think that it's a fairly simple topic, and I plan on going through and explaining everything that I'm doing. So all you really need to know are the Swift language basics, and then just knowing how to use, how to create and use data models, how to pretty much know how to create a struct and how to use a struct, and like understand why it's working that way, because I won't be explaining that part, but you'll be seeing me make it. So yeah, you can learn that way too. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, as always, we're gonna do a new Xcode project, and as always, sorry for any background noise. You know, there's always something going down at the Lee residence. All right, so the project, single view application, we're just gonna go with that. We're gonna call this Star Wars. Yeah, call it that. And then we gonna put it in KL Learning, because that's where I learn you. All right. So first thing that we want to do is we want to set up our UI. So let's go ahead and go into storyboards. Let's get all that taken care of. And I will drag this, make it look a little bit bigger. All right, so what we're gonna have two screens. I'm gonna go ahead, get the data, and then we're gonna present it in. We're gonna have a details screen. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll actually do this with a nav bar, make it look a little bit pretty. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, nav bar, whatever. All right, we're gonna pin this to all three sides, right? Gonna set the height to 64 because we don't want it to be up there with a little battery, so we're just gonna make it a little bit taller. Bam. All right, update those frames, give it a nice color. Star Wars is yellow, but I don't think that's gonna be a good color. Why is it not working? Let's go ahead and click nav bar. There we go, bar tint. We're gonna go with my favorite, purple. And then title color will be white, because it looks better like that. And then we'll have a bar button, right? Bar button item, throw it up there. And I'll just call this get, like get data, right? Tint will be white as well. So when I tap that, that's when the stuff will load. I mean, usually you want to put it in a view did load, but whatever. We're gonna do it this way. Just going with my gut. I feel like there's benefits to showing you how to use a button or something like that. All right, so get that table view going. We're gonna, pin it to all the sides, right? And then what are we gonna do? So we're gonna get another view controller. And we'll put it right there. And we'll put in another nav bar. I know I could have done a navigation controller, but meh. What are you gonna do? And I know that I could have copied and pasted, but what are you gonna do? Title font? That's not what I want. And we'll just call this details, yeah. And we'll call this people, because I'm gonna get a list of the people, and we'll see that right now. And we do the same exact thing. Pin it. Pin 64, right? And then add the constraint. Bam. Update those frames. Bam. And then for this, it's not choosing the right thing. All right, so bar tint, same color, right? Wanted to look at least uniform. And title color, obviously white, uniform, like I said. And then we're just gonna have like a bunch of labels in there, but we'll come back to the storyboard when we're done. Now, let's see. I think I'm only gonna do a simple table view because I only want to show like the name, and then after you tap on the name, you get all the details about them. So I'm not gonna make a custom cell. We don't need to really do that. And then we just need to drag, control, click, and drag from the view controller over to this view controller, and we're just gonna say show. This way that we can use a segue. And then, whoa, don't do what I just did. I don't know what I just did. And then we'll just have another, whoa, what am I doing? Bar button, I'm sorry. Okay, we're back, okay. And then this one's gonna be called back, and all it's gonna do is it's gonna take us back, right? This will be show. And then we want the item tint color to be white as well, right? Let's see. So we press get and then goes. Okay, so we'll call this back to people. And we'll call this one people to details. Right? Oh, this one probably should have been. Actually, I'm going to call this one details to people. That makes more sense, right? Details to people. All right. So now we have our segues, and if I were to run this, it should work. Right? Right. No, because I wouldn't be able to click anything to call that segue. All right, yeah, but essentially it would work. All right, so I haven't really looked over the Star Wars API that much yet, so I don't know what details I want to put in here, but we'll get into that, don't worry. Next, what do we want to do? So we're not going to be calling the view. We're not going to be calling the API right when we load, so we don't need the view did load. We're going to do it when we do the get. So we actually have to get the AP. We have to get the people, right? So we'll have a function called this will be a IB action. This is also a different way to, connect your actions to the interface builder or storyboards or whatever you want to call it. So func on get tapped, right? And then we do some stuff, print, get, and then we're also going to have the table view, right, at IB outlet week variable, and then it's going to be called table view of type UI table view. And force and wrap that. What else do we have? I think that's it. Since we're using a table view, we want to do an extension and call the data source so that we can, you know, update the data source, obviously. So extension of our view controller, and this will be getting the UI table view data source. And what the UI table view data source does is it allows us to access the different methods that are available through the data source. The data source is a protocol. If you command click right here, you go in, you know, you can see some of the ones that are required will be like number of sections, cell for row, and then number of rows. Oh, maybe number of rows isn't required. Interesting. Anyways, you can see all the optional ones that you can call in here. I usually just use 3 of them, so we want to do number of sections in row, and right now we only have 1, so we don't need multiple sections. Number of rows in section, and then we're just going to return 0 because right now we don't have an array of the people that we want to do. And then we do cell for row, right? And then for right now we just return UI table view cell because it does return a UI table view cell, and we haven't configured it yet, but yeah, we just want to get stuff rolling. So now the next thing to do is go back to the main storyboard. We want to connect everything up. So we want to connect our action, our outlet, and the data source. So okay, let's see. We click on this. We could control click drag. This is our table view, so we'll click that. So now that's connected. We can control click drag back up to here. We want to make sure that our data source is connected, right? And then we control click drag here. Wait, does it work that way? It might not work that way. So we could tap on get and control click drag here, and then sent actions on get tapped, right? So now when I run this, if everything's working, then the table view should, well, 1, it shouldn't crash, because if we're missing anything, it will crash. 2, when we press get, it should print get in the logs, because that's the only action that's in there. And yeah, obviously we should see the rest of our UI, but that's if all goes well. All right, so we got the table view. Looks like it's gonna work. Okay, now we press get and get. All right, so everything looks like it's working, looking pretty golden. All right, now we can actually go about installing our Cocoa Pods, and we can get Alamofire going. So what you're gonna want to do, head over to Google, and you're gonna want to type in, you guessed it, Alamofire. Oh yeah, it's gonna be the first GitHub reference. Bam, just go ahead and click on that, and then you're gonna want to scroll down. It's gonna show you how to install it. You can use Cocoa Pods, Carthage, or Swift Package Manager. Soon I'll be switching over to Swift Package Manager once they figure out how to get all their files out of the source folder or whatever it was. But for now, we're just gonna keep using Cocoa Pods. So all you need to do is just copy this right here, pod Alamofire, and then the version is 4.4 that we're gonna be using. Open up your terminal, your handy dandy terminal. You're gonna change directory all the way to your project, and I kept mine right here on the desktop inside KL Learning, so we're just gonna do that. So change directory, CD, right? We go to desktop, autocomplete with tab, and then you go KL Learning, right? Autocomplete with tab, and then we wanted, what did we call this? Star Wars, right? autocomplete with tab. All right, so now as you can see, we're in that directory, and all we have to do is pod init, and it will do that for us. And then we open the pod file. Just go ahead and pods for Star Wars. I'm just going to go ahead and paste that one thing. Command S for save. And then all we have to do, pod. Oh wait, is my Xcode project? No, it's closed. Okay, so pod install. Make sure. Well, you don't have to, but I usually close my Xcode project whenever I install a CocoaPod. So we just gotta wait for it to do its business. And yeah, while we're waiting, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to Google. And then we're gonna go to Star Wars API. It's gonna be SWAPI.co, right? Bam. And this is what we're gonna be using. Now, you can select an individual like so by doing people-1. All we're gonna do is just do the people, right? And we wanna get all of the people, right? So there's a total of 87 people, or so it says. And yeah, I don't know why it says 87, but we're gonna go into this results. We're gonna go through each of these that it has, and we're just gonna put them in the table view. That's all we're gonna do. And then we're gonna get the details of each of those people, and we're gonna put them in the details controller. Yeah. Alrighty, so now that it's the pod has been installed successfully, all we do is open, period. Opens it up in our Finder so that we can go. We want to make sure that we click on the XC workspace. Yeah. Alright. And you know what I just realized is I'm working with the small font for you guys. So let me just fix that, because I like to work with the small font. I can see more things, but you might be watching this on your phone, so I want to make sure that you can see too. Alright, so as long as we got the workspace open, we should have access to our Alamofire. Now, what we're going to do, oh no, hold on. We're just going to do, okay. We're just going to do a new file, right? And this is going to be just a Swift file because it's going to be ours. We're going to make a data service. So we'll go ahead and call it, actually I call it networking service. And that's what we're going to call it. And this one will import Alamofire. And then this will be a class. And we're going to call it networking service, right? Now we want to make sure that we have an instance, a singleton inside of our networking service. So hold on, command build so that Alamofire is properly imported. I think that it should automatically do that, but it doesn't. Hopefully, maybe in Xcode 9 it will do that for us automatically. We shall see. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. So we want to create a singleton just so that we can always use the same Alamofire service. So what we'll do is we'll do static. This means that it will allow us to access this property without initializing the networking service. And then we'll do static let shared. We'll just go ahead and call it shared. And then this will be an instance of our networking service, right? And then we want to make sure that you can't initialize the networking service. So we will do private init, and then we'll just leave it blank. So only we can initialize a networking service inside of the actual service because it's the access control is set to private. So yeah. All right. next, what do we have to do? We have to get people, right? So let's do a func, call it get people, right? And then this function will have a completion handler, completion, and it will be called like such for right now until I actually create a response handler for it. And you'll see what I mean by that in a second. So what we're gonna do is we want to do Alamofire dot what is it, request, and then we could just hold up. Want to make sure I auto complete the right one. Request with URL convertible. Yeah, we'll do that one. Okay, so we'll just it accepts a string. So what we'll do is we'll do actually response JSON, because we want to have the response be returned in JSON, right? Oh no, hold on. Response JSON. There's a better completion. Yeah, see, we don't want like all those different options. We just want like just JSON, right? Keep it easy, keep it simple, right? Why is it not doing it? Okay, you're not auto completing correctly. Request.response response JSON completion handler. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Could be. Let's see. Completion handler. Alright, so it's times like these where you make little mistakes and then things don't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back over to the documentation for Alamofire. And we got to see exactly how they do it. Because I personally don't even like using Alamofire. And once you set this stuff up, you're supposed to set up a networking layer, and then you don't really have to deal with this stuff ever again once you set your networking layer. That's what I'm doing, bud. Oh, did I do request? Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Alamofire.request. You know what? I think it's just the autocomplete is not working for me. That's probably all it is. So what we'll do is we'll do this, right? And where is this coming from? And then we'll just call this response in. And let's see if that works. Kind of reliant on some of those auto completes. It looks like it's gonna work. I'm gonna go back to SWAPI, make sure that I could get the URL that I want. So remember, we just wanted all this. So let's see, it didn't do that for us. So I'm just gonna copy it all. I'll copy that. Yeah, see, no errors. / people / there we go. That's all we needed, right? Yes. And this is a HTTP, so notice that it's not secure. So another thing that we have to do before we move any further is that we want to go in here into your info.plist, make sure we turn on app transport security. You press enter, it'll automatically turn into a dictionary. Now you press this little arrow, you press the plus button, allow our arbitrary loads, you press enter, you turn the no into, guess what, a yes. This way it works. Yes. All right, back to our networking layer. So now we're going to do this, and then if we get a response, it should be in JSON. So what we need to do is if let JSON equal, what is it, response dot result dot value, or something like that, then print JSON. Oh, you know what? Let's make sure that it is as JSON. So I'm gonna put in a little type alias up here. It just makes things look a little bit prettier. And we'll just call this JSON. No, not JSON encoding. JSON. And what JSON, we will refer to JSON as a dictionary of string and any. Right? So we'll cast this as JSON. Right? And if all goes well, then it shall print. And we don't have a completion handler, so nothing will happen with it yet. But when we do tap get, what we want to do is we want to have our networking service dot shared dot get people. What's the proper one? Print. We'll just say got here, right? So let's go ahead, run it, make sure that everything's working. This will this will actually not even appear because we're not calling it our completion handler. But what we should see in our log is we should see, let's see, we should see the JSON pop up as expected. So let's go ahead, press get, bam. And look at that. We see our JSON. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? All right, so what I usually do, and to be honest, I'm not sure if this is the proper way to do things, is I turn all my networking requests responses into their own objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this entire response into an object, right? So feel free to follow along with me. This may not be the best practice, but it makes things a whole lot cleaner when I'm writing my code. So I feel like it is a good idea, but I've never seen anybody do this. Okay, so this is going to be the get people response. Right? Call it whatever you want. And then hold on. Hold on. Let's stop that so that you're not using up all your processing power, right? And then I'm just gonna make this a struct, and we'll call it get people response, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna initialize this. It is going to be, let's see, is it failable? Yes. No. Wait. Is it failable? No. I actually like making them. How do I like making them? I like making them throw. That's the way I like to do it. So we're gonna initialize this with JSON, right? And then it's gonna throw. And the reason for that is better error handling. This is how I usually do it. You don't have to do it this way. It's just how I usually do it. Right? Throws. Right? Action. And let's see. When we get this JSON, what we need to do we still have this JSON? Is it still printed out for us? Yes. Okay. So when we get this JSON, we need to access the results, right? So first thing that we need to parse out are the results. So what we'll do is we'll do guard let results equal JSON key. Oh shoot! Why did you go down there? Keyword is result. Is it plural? Results. Yes. As and this is an array of JSON, right? Else, we also have to make another object. Throw. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that this doesn't work because error is not a real thing. It's a protocol, I believe. So we have to make a new object, and we'll just call this well, we could call it networking error, right? That's what I usually call it, networking error. And then we'll just do enum of networking error, and then it will be of type error, and then we'll just throw in one case, bad networking stuff. This is usually how I do it. You're probably gonna want to name it better, more realistic things, but just so that we're all on the same page of how things kind of go down in my code, that's the way I do it. Networking, we're gonna throw a networking error dot bad networking stuff, right? All right, so if we can't parse the JSON for whatever reason because it's not in this proper format, we're just going to throw this error. All right, so now we have an array of JSON, right? But now we have access to like this array, right? And each of these are people. So now we can finally make our person object, right? So let's go ahead and make that person object. And we're gonna just choose like all the different fields that we kind of want to display on the next screen. So we'll have a person, and then this will also be a struct. So, and this one will also be initialized with JSON, because this is still in the JSON format, right? So JSON, but what we want to do is we want to make this a failable initializer, because if for whatever reason we can't get that data back, then we just need to get rid of this person object. So this is the way that I prefer to do it anyway. So let's see, what things do we want to get out of this JSON? So we have the birth year. That seems like a good thing to get, right? So we'll do guard let birth year equal JSON, and we want to just do birth year as let's see, as a string, duh. And then what else do we want to get? So we'll do let created. No, we don't need that. Edited, no. Eye color, sure. Eye color, whatever. JSON, and then we'll do, how do they do it? What are they doing? Underscores. Whoa, what's up with the big S? String, right? What else do we want? Do we want the films? I don't think so. Gender seems like something that you, well, I mean, not to be sexist or anything, but I mean, it's just something that seems like it'd be a normal thing to kind of parse for, right? That's string. And then what else do we want? Hair color, sure. Let hair color equal JSON, and then we'll do hair color as string. What's next? Height? Yeah, let height equal JSON. Height. Make sure you spell these right, or else none of this is gonna work, right? Because we're making sure that each of these keys are spelled correctly and they can be cast into a string object, or else we don't move forward. Let's see, what was after height? Home world. I think I want to get home world because I want to show you guys how to get this, I guess, right? let home, this one I'm going to do a little bit different. Home world, wait, hold on. Yeah, it's one word. Home world link, right, is going to be JSON home world as string. Now the reason I'm doing this as home world link is because, as you can see, it's not giving us the data directly. We have to do another request just to get that data. So I guess I want to show you guys how to do that too, if you ever need to do that. Okay, so mass, name, and skin color, right? That's probably it. Let mass equal JSON mass, let name JSON name, and let skin color JSON skin color as string, else return nil. So either you're gonna let me parse all this data properly, or we're not going anywhere. Okay. Xcode's tripping out right there. Okay, so it's just saying that we're not using those. Don't worry about that yet. Okay, so for each person that's in this array, we're gonna get all this data, and we're gonna have access to all this data. So what we have to do is we have to make properties for each of them. So we have to go through that entire process again. So let birth year of type string, let eye color of type string, let gender of type string, let hair color type string. You might be wondering, like, Kyle, why did you do all these different properties just to get a point across? Well, because, you know, sometimes people want to see a little bit more than the usual, and if you're watching my channel at all, then you probably just want to watch more than the usual. So that's why. I don't know. It's better to have the information in one spot than have to go digging for all kinds of stuff, right? Let's see, name and then skin color. And then home world link. Okay, so this one I'm actually going to make private. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but just because it's a little bit different, we're going to segregate them because I'm racist and we discriminate against the private today. Okay, so just to make things look a little bit cleaner in your code, I've seen people do this. So, you know, you could feel free to do this if you feel like it. Don't have to. It's not required. It's a neat thing in Swift. Not every single language will ignore white spaces, but Swift will. Just makes it look a little bit more lined up, just so you know. And we can do the same thing with this. Just, they're all strings, right? So all I'm doing is just pressing tab. You know, you just tab them until they're lined up. There's probably like a faster way to do it, but I do it that way because I'm slow. Anyway, on to the next. Now we have to, since all these are required, we have to initialize each of them. And we're going to do that by doing, we'll just start at the top. So we'll do self.homeWorldLink is equal to homeWorldLink, right? Self.birthYear, self dot eye color is equal to eye color. Self dot gender is equal to gender. Self dot hair color. I'm gonna keep talking to you guys. Hair color. Self dot height equal to height. Self dot mass is equal to mass, and then we'll just put you up there. And then self dot name is equal to name. Self dot skin color is equal to skin color. All right, and then we're just gonna make all of these look pretty too. I could have probably done with the equal. It'd probably look better, but whatever. Do making it look a little bit better. All right, so now we can initialize an object properly, right? So now we have to go back to our response, which was dealing with the people, right? Because remember that in our results, it's an array of JSON, and the results is just an array of people. So now we have to parse through, we have to pass in each JSON object into to try to initialize the person, right? So what we'll do is we'll do let, and I'm going to use a map function. It's pretty much like a for in loop, but it's a little bit cleaner and faster. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do let people equal results. Remember that results is an array, so we can use the map function on it. We'll do map, and then we'll do brackets, right? Curly braces. And then all we're going to do is we're going to do, we want to initialize a person. And we're going to do it with JSON. And remember that we're doing a for each in results, right? And each object in results is JSON, and we're able to initialize a person with JSON. So the shorthand for it would be $0, and all that means is that it's saying whatever type of object each of these results are, which we know to be JSON, then we're just gonna pass that in right there, right? The problem is that it's gonna give us back optional people, because remember that person with JSON, when you do the initialize with JSON, it's failable, so it might not work, which means that we could get back a nil result. So what we do to fix that is we just do dot flat map. Now I know that you can use dot flat map usually just right there, and it'll do it automatically, but when you are working with your own Swift classes, for some reason it doesn't work. And we're just going to pass in a $0 right there, because now this optional people, now we're passing in a person object right here. So if it's a true person object, then it'll be added to our array of people. If it's nil, then it will just be skipped over, right? All right, and then for our get people response, we'll have this people property, which will be of type array of persons, right? So all we have to do is do self.people is equal to people. Bam. All right, so now we set up our data model to handle the response, but we haven't implemented it yet. So now we have to go back to our networking layer. That's networking error. I said networking layer, and that would be networking service. There we go. Okay, so remember we're getting our JSON in here, and we want to initialize our get people response with that. So So whoa, what am I doing? Oh, we have to try to do this, right? Actually, you know what? I don't like the way that this looks, so I'm gonna just make it into a guard statement. Return else, and then we just replace this with guard. So we guard let JSON, and then we want to do catch, because remember that and I'm not going to do any error handling right now. You have to remember that our get people response is it throws. So yeah, we just got to do it this way. What am I doing? What are you doing, Kyle? Let get people response equal get people response, and then remember that we initialize this with JSON, and we have JSON, right? This JSON object we're going to pass in here, and we have to try this. So if that works, then what we can do is we can say that our completion handler, you know, we could call this success, because I'm not doing errors. Success, and we'll just call this success block. Whatever you call it, whatever you want. And then we have to make sure that this is at escaping. Okay. So I just did a couple of different things right here. Let me explain what I did. Okay, so since I'm not checking for errors right now, and that's just because I'm just doing a tutorial, and what you need to do if you're going to be going into production, you're going to want to check for errors, but we're not going to be doing that right now. So I'm just going to say it's always going to be success, and if not, then this block would never be called. So I decided to rename it success, and then when I want to call my completion handler, which is going to now be called SuccessBlock inside of this method, I'll be using SuccessBlock instead of completion. We have to specify at escaping, because the contents of this data will live outside the scope of this method, which means that this block of code is going to finish running, but the data from this block of code is going to be used in other places from our app. So we just have to specify that. All right, so get people, and then now when we call our success block, what we do is we just pass. Oh, hold on. I also need to specify that success block is only going to return a get people response, right? So we have to pass in a get people response. So success block, and then we pass in our get people response that we just checked for right here, right? And we pass it in right here. So now when we go back over to our view controller, we will be able, and this will be called response in, and we'll be able to print out our response. So now this response object that it's being passed into this block of code will be our get people response. So let's go ahead and run this, and let's see what's going on. If all goes well, you know what I mean. It's been a weird day outside in Southern California. It's getting cloudy and stuff. Oh, watch, if I option click my response, it'll show. See, it's a get people response. So when we print it, we'll actually be able to see our people object, or our people property, whatever. So look at that. So now we have all our people in there, right? See, it's our get people response, and then it's the people, and then it's this array, and then that's where the array ends. You can see all their different properties in there. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to actually save all these people. I have to have like a reference to all these people in my view controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a variable called people, and this is going to be of type, you guessed it, an array. Oh, actually we're going to make it like this because we want to have initial value. I'm going to call it no, it's a person, right? Array of person, and then it's going to be an empty array. This way we can call the people dot count right here, so that it updates the table properly, right? Alrighty, so it's going to be an array of persons. So all we're going to do is, now that we have this response, what we'll do is we'll set our people object to the people property inside of our response. So self.people is equal to response dot people. See? Look at how clean that is. That's pretty damn clean. That's pretty clean, no? Look at how small our view controller is. Woo! 37 lines of code. Beat that. All right. Anyway, okay. So now we're just setting our people up in here, and then we have to update our table view. So self.tableview. Remember, we're inside a closure, so you have to use self. Reload data. Right. And that should be good. Now we just have to set up the cell for the table view. So we're not going to be doing, we're not going to be doing anything special with this cell. All we want to do is present the name, right? So we'll do guard let cell equal table view dot dq. Let's see. Table view dot d. I was waiting for it to autocomplete. DQ reusable cell with identifier. I haven't set the identifier yet, but I'm just gonna call it. Actually, we don't even need to do this because we're just gonna use the default cell, right? So let cell equal UI table view cell. Yeah, we're just gonna use the default cell so we don't need to do it. Usually, what you would want to do is you want to do the DQ reusable with identifier. But since we only have a limited amount of data and we're just wanting to present it, then we're just gonna do it like this. We're not gonna go into how to optimize your table view and all that other stuff. So the cell dot title. Wait a minute. No, it's the text label. Text label dot text is going to be equal to our people array, and then we want the individual person for each of those rows. So we do index path dot row. So that'll be that individual in that row that's supposed to go in that row, right? Dot, and we want to use their name, and that's a string, so it will work. And all we want to do is return our cell, right? So now when I do that, it should update. Let's see. UI label not unwrapped. What? Oh, text label. I think this is optional. Yeah, there we go. I was about to say, I could have sworn I did it all right. Will Kyle be able to do it? Find out on this week's episode of KL Learning. No, this isn't a show. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, so now when I press get, bam! Look at that. You got data. See, it's all in there. And since Alamofire is thread safe, which means that it automatically brings the responses into the main thread, it will update the UI properly. So now what we want to do is when we click on one of these, we want to go in and see the rest of the details. Now, we don't really have the next screen set up, but what we need to do first is we need to add the delegate that will allow us to click on the cell. So extension view controller is of type UI table view delegate. So this is just a different protocol, and what we can do with the delegate is wait, cell for row, and then did select. That's what it was. Did select row at index path. That's the one that we want to use. So when we select a row at the index path, we want to perform a segue, right? Perform segue with identifier. And what did I call it? I called it like I called it people to details, something like that. Remember back there when I called it the segue? And then the sender, you know what? I want to send that object. So what I will do is I'll do people, and we'll do the same thing as right here. We want to send that specific person, right? So index path dot row. So now when we perform the segue, it should be sending our person. But first we have to get the we have to prepare the segue. Prepare for segue, right? You want to use this one, and then want to verify that the segue is going to be called what we think it's going to be called. So guard let segue, or let's see, guard let ID equal to segue dot identifier no, how do we want to check this? We want to say guard segue identifier is equal to people to details, else want to return, right? Guard, yeah, so we want to make sure that that's the correct segue, and then we want to also let we want to get our destination. So let destination, or actually we'll call it details because that's what our destination is. Details VC, which we haven't created yet, is equal to segue dot destination. And we actually have to create the other view controller, our details view controller, in order to cast this as a details VC. So we'll make a Cocoa Touch class, right? Right. And we'll call it, I don't know why command all doesn't work on that one, but okay. Details VC. And then we'll just do create. Okay, we don't need any of this. Definitely don't need that. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we update our storyboard, make sure that it's of the right class type, I guess, what you would call it. Man, Kyle, you talk a lot. There's a lot going on right here for something so simple. Really? Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Sorry. Okay, so we'll just call this details BC, right? And then we'll also make sure that it's this, right? That works. Okay, so now we should be able to go to the blank screen. So we want to make sure we do a guard, right? So guard, or actually I could just throw it on to the previous one, right? Just throw a comma right there. as we're gonna call this details VC, and then that's when we go to the next line. We do our else statement, else return, else. Come on, Kyle, what are you doing? There we go. So now we want to make sure that our details VC, and we want to pass it a person object, so we have to have an interceptor. I don't know if that's a real word. I just, interception, right? So we'll do var person is of type person, right? And want to make sure that we tell, I know that it's going to be there. View did load. We're just going to use this super dot view did load, and then print the person that we selected. So person. Okay. Yeah, that looks like it should work. So now we have something that will actually receive what we're going to pass to it. So we're going to do details VC dot person is equal to, oh, you know what? I didn't even grab that person object that we should be receiving from it. So the sender, remember that we said the sender should be of a type person. The weird thing about Swift 3, and hopefully not Swift 4, but Swift 3 is that if you send a Swift object, which is your own custom object, and pass it as any, at least for a segue, I don't know about anything else. When it gets passed as any, it loses like the bridging between Swift and Objective-C to be able to pass that object kind of gets messy. So you actually have to cast it. So we'll do guard let sender. We'll do guard let person equal sender, and then you have to do as any object as a person. I don't know why it's like that. It shouldn't be like that, but whatever. Return. This should work. There should be no problems with this. So now what we'll do is we'll do details VC dot person is equal to this person that I just made, right? And let's clean that up a little bit. Yes, and there, and there, and let's that should work. Okay, that should work. Okay, so now when we perform our segue, we should be passing in a person. When we do select, it's going to perform a segue. We're going to perform that segue to be specific. It should be passing that person in, and when we prepare for the segue, we set the person object in the next view controller. All right, let's see if this works. I don't know if it works. I haven't tried this. It might not work, and then I'll just have to stop the video right there and be like, oh yeah, it just worked. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be a different video. I was not prepared for this. It's been a busy weekend. It's my 1-year anniversary. A lot of stuff has been going on in my personal life, and I'm tired. And I still got to do a whole nother video for you guys. All right, so we're going to get, right? All right, so let's go in with Darth Vader. So when we click Darth Vader, we should see it print something because we're going to a different view controller. So Darth Vader. Nope, doesn't. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't connect the delegate. Duh. So that's usually the problem. Got to make sure you connect the delegates. Yes. So we're gonna click on this one. Option. Control. Whoa. Control. Drag onto the yellow thing. Delegate. See. Now, when we do it, hopefully it'll work. That's if I named everything properly, which you always want to make sure that everything's spelled properly, because if you don't spell one of these little things properly, it won't work. But let's see what happens. It might work, it might not work. Don't know if it will work. Darth Vader again. Yay! It worked, guys. Yeah. Yay. Okay, so you should know how to get this data onto the screen. But in case if you don't, we're going to go through that right now. So now we have to create labels for each of these. Okay, so labels are going to be our best friend right now. Label. And I'm only going to make like one really long label for each of them. I'm not going to make it look all pretty or anything like that, because no way. So we're just going to option drag, option drag, option drag, option drag, option drag. How many properties do we have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 3, 6. Okay, so we need 3 more. Okay. So we got 3, 3, 3. Yeah. Okay, so now we just want to change the name of these, whatever, right? So we'll do name. We'll do and this doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna go in order after that, because name is like the one that you usually put at the top, right? So we'll do home world, and we'll actually get the home world. We're gonna do the label, which will be or I don't know what I'm saying, birth year. This one will be eye color. Whatever, we're not going to see any of this. Gender. Hair color. Yeah. After that, it's height, mass, and then skin color. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is the order that they're going to be listed in when we actually fill these out. But first we need to create references in our view controller, the details view controller, to each of these. So I like to generally put my outlets at the top, do them wherever you please, but this is how I'm going to do it. Okay. Okay, name. Do I want to call it label? Yeah. No. And then home world. Still think that's weird that it's only one word. I would have thought it was 2. Birth year. Eye color. Gender. hair color, height, come on, mass, and skin color. Alrighty. Bam. Oh, let's close out the simulator because that was probably what was making everything go a little bit slower. Okay, let's make our view controller look a little bit prettier, right? And skin color. Okay, so now we have access to each of those labels, so we can populate them properly with our person object. So now we'll just do that in the view did load because we already have all that data. So what we can do is we can do name.text is equal to our person dot name, right? We're gonna skip over homeworld for this second because we have to do some stuff to that, but birth year is equal to person dot birth year. Nope, can't do that because we have to do dot text. There we go. Eye color dot text is equal to person dot eye color. Gender dot text is equal to person dot gender. Hair color dot text is equal to person, you guessed it, dot hair color. Height dot text is equal to person dot height. Ooh, is that going to be a problem? Okay, hold on. I don't know if this is going to be a problem because height, oh no, okay. Height.text is equal to, or mass.text is equal to person.mass. For some reason I thought that the view controller had a property called height, which wouldn't make any sense, but you know, it could have, which is why you have to be careful with what you name some of these properties. Person.skin color. Okay. So now, when we go in, everything should work when we click on one of our people, with the exception of the home world, because remember that home world is just a link, and we want to actually get that property. So we actually have to do another request just to get that property. But let's go ahead and see if everything else works. So we'll go with do we want OB1? You know what, let's do R2D2. R2D2 home world, as you can see, it's still home world. Let's see, I forgot the layout. This is kind of a weird thing to work on, so we have to get it again. There we go. Okay, Luke Skywalker, right? Oh, okay, so this is the year that he was born, some whatever. Eye color, gender, hair color, height, or wait, was it mass? No, height, and then mass, and then skin color is fair. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to actually get the home world, and then we'll be done, right? Hopefully. So what we have to do, remember that we set this one private, so we wouldn't even have access to it. So what we want to do is we want to do a function called homeWorld, and then this is going to have a completion handler in it because we have to actually make a networking request to get the actual data that we want from it. And or you know what? Let's see. This is going to return a string, right? This is going to return a string and void right here. So we'll have a completion handler that looks like that, but we need to call it completion, right? And then we don't really want to give it a name because we're not doing anything with it. And then okay, so this is what has to happen. So we have to do another request, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our networking layer so that we could get that request. So what's going on? Why are you complaining? You don't know what you're talking about. I do. Not the networking error, but the networking service. So we go back in here. We want to do another one called get home world. Get home world. And then let's see. Oh crap, we're gonna have to make a whole nother response for this one. You know what? We're not gonna make a whole nother response for it. We're just gonna parse it out and just pass it. We're gonna go a little bit cheapy on this one. So completion, and then the completion is going to be at escaping, and then this will you know, this will pass, this will also pass a string because we're just going to pass it, right? And then void, and let's see, what am I missing? I am missing a parentheses. So what we'll do is we'll do the same request. So Alamofire dot request, and we want to do the URL convertible. I don't know what the link is. Oh wait, I have it right here. So we have to actually pass something in here. So we have to do home world link. That's going to be of type string, and we're going to pass it in here, home world link, and then dot request, and then no, not request, we want response, because we want JSON to come back, right? So oh, it worked this time. Okay, so response, the autocomplete worked this time. Okay, so that's good. And what are we going to do? Okay, so the response, we want to make sure that it's JSON. So guard let JSON equal response dot result dot any, or no dot value as JSON, else just go ahead and return. And then let's see how that data comes back so that we don't really have to go through it. So when we get the home world, if we could find it, home world, if I copy this and put it into the address bar or whatever you call it, then it will automatically generate this and it will tell us how it's coming back. So we want to just grab the name. So it's coming back as JSON. So it's coming back just as a dictionary, right? And we want to grab the name object. So that makes it easy. So guard let name equal JSON, or actually whatever, JSON, and then name as string, else return. And then we just replace this with the comma, enter, do that, right? So now we have a name, and we can do our completion, and we'll say name. So now when we call this get home world in our person object, so networking, hey, that's my baby, networking service dot shared dot get home world, we could pass in our home world link, and we'll call it name, and our completion, we'll call our completion with this name. So now it'll just essentially be passed and passed again, and then we also have to mark this as at escaping. So now we could just call home world and it will pass us a name. So when we go back to our details, all we have to do is we have to do this. We'll do person dot home world. We press enter. We'll say name, and we'll do self dot name dot text is equal to name. So it will update, but it'll just take a second to update because we have to actually make that request. And yeah, so now when we click on a person, we should have all their information filled out. And we'll start off with Darth Vader again. Alright, so we're going to get it. We're going to go to... we should do Obi-Wan. Alright, Obi-Wan. Homeworld. Wait for it. If it even works. It might not have worked. Oh no, it didn't work. Okay, so got to go back. I have to figure out why it's not working. So let's see. Our response, it should be coming in as JSON. Let's see if we're even getting here. Print got here. Yeah, that's weird that's not working. Okay, so and then print. Nope. This is how I debug. It's not the most elegant way of doing it, but it's one of the ways of doing it. So let's just make sure that our networking layer is all good first. Whoa, what is that? What's going on with the simulator? So we get it, right? Bam, Obi-Wan, bam. And then we got there, right? So we got the completion. So now our person object should be calling it. Interesting. So completion. And then... Oh, am I stupid? Oh, I am stupid. What the heck? Oh, you guys probably saw that. I'm sorry. I'm being an idiot. For some reason, I was calling it name when I should have been homeworld. Homeworld. It doesn't matter what you call this. This is just a namespace. Homeworld. I got confused. Wow. Tired. Not paying attention. That's what happens. Home world. And then home world. And then home world. Okay. So now it should work because I'm actually pointing it at the right label. Stupid me. See, I was setting the name to Obi-Wan, and then I'd go down here, and then it would point to whatever his homeworld was. Sajoja. Whatever it is. So we do get a response, bam, bam, Stu John, baby. Yeah, look at all of that. Nice and sexy. So that is how you present data from the server. That's all. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. That's all you need to do. I am just going to go ahead, make this in GitHub so that make sure that you have access to it. Yes, because that's what I do. That's what your good old pal, buddy boy Kyle does. What are we gonna call this? Alamofire presenting data. Yeah. Initialize with the README. Sure, why not? Okay, so now we want to do that. Bam, go back, and then we're gonna get init. Yes. So we'll then do get add remote origin. Paste that in there. Oh no. What? Remote get remote. Oh, get remote add origin, and then get pull origin master, and then you enter your password, and then you do the get add all get commit -am. Finished that Star Wars tutorial, y'all. And then you get push origin master, and then you enter in your password, and then you make sure to refresh your page, man. And then you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, I'm on. Yay, it's in there, guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, you're gonna want to reach out to me on Slack, my Applied Swift Slack team. Feel free to reach out to me on there, Twitter, in the comments, never through email because I don't check my emails like that. And then yeah, any suggestions, feel free to send them off to me. But yeah, sorry for the long video, but that's how you do it. Anyway, see you guys later. Once again, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from KiloLoco.com. And as always, remember to code passionately. Yay.